Hey folks, Brendan here from Bluelight. Now, today I want to talk to you about something that cropped up a few times over the past week in some of the coaching sessions I've been doing, either on a one-to-one basis for potential recruits and also for individuals who are going for the rank of sergeant and for the rank of inspector who've got interview boards coming up. And all of them have fallen into what I call the CVF Interview Trap. More about that in a moment. Now, you're probably also wondering what this is. It's a rabbit, apparently. It's got to stay there. My little boy drew it and he said, "Daddy, for your next video, this has to be in your video." So there it is. I made a pledge to him. So in case you're thinking, has this got any relevance at all to police recruitment or my advancement of my career as a police officer? No, none whatsoever. It's just a rabbit that my little boy drew. In a skirt, I think. I'm not quite sure. Anyway. So what's a CVF trap? Well, I think I'll talk about the In-Force Advancement Group. So this is a collection of police officers who are meeting every week with me, and we have a 2-hour session. They've got a load of material that's available to them, sample interview questions, how to structure their answers, forward-facing, rear-facing, all sorts of guidance is available for them. You'll find a link below, by the way, if you want to join that group. And it is so cheap. You're going to look at it and think, how much? Has he put the dot in the wrong place? No, I haven't. This is because I want to help support my clients who succeeded in the recruitment process and others now to succeed in their career. Because after all, let's face it, the career support within the service, depending on the force, depending on your boss, it's not great, is it? It's not great. Never has been, never has been. You've got to take care of your own development. So anyway, there we were practicing PC to sergeant and sergeant to interview type questions. And what emerged was this obsession with, yes, but what competency is this question measuring? What competency is this question measuring? And I think everyone's getting a little bit too obsessed with, right, well, I've got to mention certain phrases, I've got to demonstrate certain behaviors. And the thing is, the people who are interviewing you are just as clueless about this document, the competency and values framework, as you are. I mean, you probably flick through it and think, I know it's in black and white, but you probably think, what on earth is that? Yeah, but really, what on earth is that? The wheel of confusion is what I call it. And it's really hard to understand, and it's really hard to fathom out. Now, if you're a serving police officer and you're going for promotion, or going for a lateral interview, so you're going for a specialist position, a lateral position move, or a transferee, or even if you're a recruit going for a final interview and you've got an inspector there in front of you, chief inspector, superintendent, do you think for one moment that they understand all of this? No, they don't. They understand it just as much as you do. They just want you to answer the question. Answer the question. Answer it well. Answer it with detail, structure, authenticity, a little bit of passion, a little bit of commitment to the role. You want to be a sergeant. You want to be delivering your answer in a way that has something of your heart in there, not talking about the example that you're giving as if you're talking about a trip to the shops to buy a newspaper. Come on, folks, let's. But then again, we've got to balance that with detail and structure. And the reason why I call it CVF trap is because everyone's obsessed about which the conversation we got into was which competency or value is this one from? So I gave them this question. Can you tell me about a time when you've used multiple sources of information in order to make a difficult decision? And then with a supplementary question, which is, how did you account for your decision to others? So I'll read that again. And in case any of you potential recruits thinking, phew, I'm glad that's for promotion. No, you could get asked this as a potential recruit as well. If it's sergeant to inspector, it's probably going to be at an even higher level. It's going to be more complex, your answer. So a time when you've used multiple sources of information in order to make a difficult decision. How did you account for your decision? Tough, huh? Well, it's the sort of question you're going to get. So you need to have some examples of this. That's the first thing. You need to put yourself in a position where you're making difficult decisions, where you are having to collect information from a variety of sources in order to make that decision, in order to come up with an aim, in order to come up with some options, and then have a clear rationale for your options, and then talk about how you executed that decision, how you monitored it, what went well, what didn't go well, what the result was, and how you had to account for that decision to others who may not have agreed with you because it was a difficult decision. It's not a difficult decision if everyone goes, yeah, great, fantastic, good job. That's not a difficult decision, that's just a decision. But that's they don't want to know about decisions, they want to know about difficult ones. And so I'll leave you with this for a moment. Come on, you CVF experts, which value or competency is this question referring to? I asked that question the other night and I got a variety of replies. I got transparency, impartiality, we are collaborative, analyze critically. So which one is it? All of them. All of them. And I'll tell you why. Transparency. When you look at the transparency value, it talks about having a clear rationale for your decision making. Also talks about you accounting for your decisions as well. Impartiality, taking into account individual needs and requirements. Make fair and objective decisions. That's from impartiality. We're collaborative. Getting information from a variety of sources involves working with other people collaboratively. Analyze critically. You have to analyze the information that you have, look at its importance, the urgency behind the information that you've got, the relevance, the pros and cons, and then make your decision in line with the code of ethics. Check it out, look at the CVF. I'm right, aren't I? So actually that one question could cover multiple values and competencies. And so what I'm hoping to do here, folks, is steer you away from this obsession with which competency or value is this from, and this obsession with trying to remember all the key parts of each one of those values and competencies. It's not going to do you any favors. I've seen the feedback, by the way, because so many of my clients who are potential sergeants, potential inspectors who have been before and may have dipped in their board, potential recruits who have dipped or succeeded actually in their interviews, I've seen their feedback. The written feedback, some forces don't give any whatsoever, they just say, yeah, you failed, hard luck. Some are awesome and they give really good feedback. But when you look at the feedback, the notes that are made by the assessors bear no relevance to the behaviours described in the CVF. What they're looking for is whether you're going to be awesome. So if they're looking for sergeants, don't talk to them about how you're an awesome constable. Give them examples that show you promise and your ability to be an awesome sergeant. Same goes for inspector, same goes for road policing unit, same goes for FLO, same goes for public order, firearms, no matter what job you're going for. You want to present evidence that's going to demonstrate to them that you're going to be awesome in that role. Same if you're a potential recruit. Stop getting bogged down in the CVF. It's not going to help you. Just answer the question. Answer the question, because you'll really wind up some superintendent or inspector otherwise, because they'll be thinking, I wish they'd just answer the question. I wish they'd stop using these big words. I know this person. I've worked with them before. They don't normally talk like this, so why are they talking like this now? I wish I just had someone who would just give me a detailed, structured example and go into the detail of how they've done something and talk about the pain points and what went well and why. And not try and present to me that everything they touch turns to gold, because it doesn't. It doesn't, because people, that's why, because people. And being in the police is a very people-orientated thing, and nothing ever goes to plan. The wheel's always wobbly, and your job is to try and put it back on again and just tighten up the nuts so that it doesn't go wobbly again, but it always does. Is the wheel on? Is a question I used to ask my sergeants all the time. Morning, sergeants, is the wheel on? And they'd go, yes, boss. And I think everything in the world is good. If they went, I'd be thinking I need to sit down. What's going on? If they just went, boss, we need to speak. The wheel's coming off. It's about to come off. That happens all the time. That's just part of policing, folks. So that's the other thing. My other bit of advice is that especially for the PC to sergeant, sergeant to inspector, a lot of the examples you're giving make out that you're a superstar and everything you touch turns to gold. There was one of my clients who was practicing an answer, to a question. I can't remember what the question was, but she was relaying how she dealt with some of her sergeants. She was an acting inspector at the time, and how she dealt with some of her sergeants and one of the response sergeants that came into the meeting as well. And the way she talked about it, it sounded like the meeting just went swimmingly. And at the end of it, I just said, no, it didn't go like that, did it? And she went, no. The response sergeant kicked off, didn't she? Yeah. And there was a bit of a Barney argument about who's to blame. Yeah. So how did you manage that? That's what they want to know. They want to know how you're going to manage the difficult conversations so that when the superintendent's tucked up in bed, they're not waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking, oh no, Inspector so-and-so's on duty tonight. It's all going to go pear-shaped. They're looking for the inspectors and sergeants that are going to provide them with the confidence that when the wheel starts coming off, you're going to put it back on again. So don't get bogged down in this, folks. Don't fall into the CVF trap. Answer the question. All right, folks, well, listen, I hope you found that useful. If you have, give me a like or a love, whatever it is. Follow the channel. If it's YouTube or Facebook, you'll be watching it on one of those mediums. And the links below. If you're not part of the Facebook groups, do join them, because this is where it's all going on. This is where the conversations are taking place. They're awesome groups. One for serving officers and one for potential recruits. And I shall see you soon, my friends. Bye-bye for now.